streets after streets, the dim lights of the city blurring the panorama. I kept on moving slowly the muscles of my body, trying to reach for something, for a place. Somewhere I couldn't discern yet, but I knew I would end up finding if I just carried on walking on this journey. I wandered inside the parks, along the lanes and the towpath I stumbled upon. The lights went down, but I went on. I couldn't possibly think of anywhere about to land the path. I came across the spaces, some gleeful and others quite bleak, and in my mind I wondered who these people were. What are they been like? What were they expecting from the dead of the night? I pondered on the uncanny possibility that perhaps they and I were much more alike than all the physical variations that seemed distances. We might have been closer to one another in the most mystical of ways, if only we had followed the same path. Bewildered, I kept on moving forward in an attempt to leave behind the countless doubts that arose from these interrogations. I sat down for a moment on a weathered bench along the canal, my hair blowing in the wind. I looked for an answer in the breath of fresh air, as if I were giving all my trust in something I could not either name or describe. It wasn't a cry for help, but rather an otherworldly conversation with the universe. The atmosphere became bitterly cold as the night approached. Thanks to the surroundings, I felt lingeringly more at peace with myself. Perhaps it was the beauty of the view offered to me, or merely the stillness I could grasp from being in this setting, in an authentic part of nature, undisturbed and unscarred. I was observing the passerbys. Each and every one of them appeared to hold me on a greater level. Suddenly, the wind ceased, or perhaps it had already been a while, but I had lost myself in a train of thoughts. A stream of consciousness that also seemed to distance me from the ones that were walking by. I pondered on the curious equation that was distinguishing us. Were my thoughts so transparent that anyone encountering me would be instantly pushed away by the nonsense I was mirroring to them? And I wondered. I stayed sitting there in silence for hours. I kept on musing about the insanity, the trivial, the significant, and all that life encompasses. The tragedies I want to go through and the blissful times that seem to make up for it. If someone had dared to take a seat next to me, a tiny chance might have existed that some answer would have come to light. Yet for hours on end, no one chose to venture on this apparently menacing journey. What was scaring them away? The unknown, the irrational, the unreal, all of which was merely the reflection of a sense of loss. I was lost, and so were they. Yet, what truly differentiated us was the fear of facing it, which they had once I didn't. It must be in this epiphany that I eventually found the meaning of this long and wearying stroll. The answers that I had rigorously requested a more potent or invisible force to give me. I could not discern where I was anymore. Had I belonged to this part of the city before? For with all the confusion in my mind, I certainly felt as though it was the very first time I was walking on the towpath. There was a newly painted sign across the bench I was sitting on with a brief history of the area and a quote that read, "For all those that were lost at sea." I felt a chill through my body. My mind wandered some more and led me to explore a darker train of thoughts. What if I had drowned myself in these cold blue waters? Would I have found myself in this obscure part of the underworld? Or would I have lost myself? The song of a bird took me back to reality. And there I was, lost as I had been for most of my life. Lost in the found and found in the lost. The only question that remained was how many more people had I laid eyes upon without ever truly grasping the truth in their eyes, and how many of them held the truth of being lost. In these contemplations, recognizing how lost we might all have been, I found myself.